Hello, everybody, and welcome to Flights of Fandom. That is right. Flights of Fandom has been replaced for the month of October with Flights of Fandom. And you guys may be wondering what we're playing this fine month. We are playing the spookiest rendition of GUMSHOE you guys have ever probably heard of, that marries some of the concepts of SCP as well as Control. That is right. We are playing the Dollhouse, a Control flight using Robin D. Laws' Esoterrorist 2nd edition from Pelgrane Press. So check that out. So guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. I am Zach, otherwise known as Great Samino, your humble GM, your ghost with the most, your spookster with the mooster. I don't know. Something haunted. I use he, him pronouns, and I am joined by 4 fantastically lovely and spooky cast members this week. And starting in order on the left-hand side, David, if you'd like to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, what's up, folks? David here, he, him. I'm a graphic designer, an illustrator, and a game designer. You can check out all my game stuff over at dbb-8.itch.io. You can also check me out on Instagram and Twitter at dbrunelbrutman. And I am once again this week playing the role of Dr. Katz. I completely forgot I have it literally written down and I don't know where I wrote it down.
I believe
Katz is a forensic parageologist with the FBC.
Well done. Good recovery.
I got there.
I thought that was the coolest thing when you pitched it, by the way. That's fantastic. Anyhow, moving further down the overlay, Marissa, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marissa, she, her pronouns, and I also go by Critical Kitten with various punctuation here and there on the internet. And today I am playing Dr. Vivian Bancroft, who is an applied metaphysician, experimental philosopher, astronaut liaison, and head of the astral exhibition team within the parapsychology division of the research sector of the Federal Bureau of Control.
Excellent. Moving over to the right side of our overlay, Hopper, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
What's up? I'm Hopper. That's enough for me. No, I use they, them pronouns and can be found on the interwebs at Fail Deadly. That is with a 3 instead of an E. I'm an arborist and pro DM and general troublemaker.
Excellent. Dig it. And finally, not last but not least, Puja, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. I am Puja. You can find me on the internet at Puja on Twitter and at Pujabberwocky on Instagram and in the Twitch chat tonight. My pronouns are she, her, and I am playing Jane Barnett, the long-suffering twin sister of Jamie Barnett and intern. Yep, that pretty much covers it. Unpaid intern at the bureau.
I feel like with a government position, like unpaid internships are kind of, well, then again, maybe the FBC acts outside the realms of the law, so maybe they can get away with paying in exposure and experience. Anyhow,
I can't get over the line. FBC... Barely people, somehow legal.
The FBC is a black line budget item. They can get whatever the hell money they want, and if they're not paying their interns,
it's a choice.
There's no, they've made an active choice to do this.
Listen, Jade even said, if we're going into the field, can we get paid? To no avail.
That is true. Also, because I didn't introduce myself, because I'm bad at streaming. I am playing Jamie Barnett, Jane's wibbly wobbly, very flaky, distracted brother.
Excellent.
I will say, Jamie, we better not fucking die on a job we don't get paid for.
I know, right?
Like,
We
we
don't have health
morally
insurance.
opposed to that shit. Exactly. Like, don't make me die for a job that doesn't pay me.
Serving a bunch of weird black ops government employees coffee is not worth dying for. And I'm gonna say this: if you're doing good work, you should get paid for it. Like, full stop.
Otherwise, you be that person in the movie, the intro to the movie, that when shit starts going wrong, just fucks off, man. You're just like, fuck this. I'm not trying to figure it out. I don't get paid enough for this.
I don't get paid nothing, so it is not worth dying for.
What's this about zombies? No. Coffee run, bitches.
Oh, look at that! Starbucks called. Bye.
Wait, I think I hear somebody calling on the hotline. Hold on, I'm just gonna check that real quick.
Not seen for the rest of the movie. Now that would be realistic. You heard it here first, folks.
Okay. So, speaking of the throes of death, as it were, you guys found yourself. So this kind of requires a little bit of extra recap. So let me set the tone here. Y'all let us know if the music is too loud or too soft. Where first we met our fine agents of the Federal Bureau of Control. We were kind of treated to the first half of their day, kind of starting off relatively normal as things can be within the Federal Bureau of Control, a organization that is well known for its clandestine understanding of extra-normal, paranormal, paranatural phenomena, largely kind of concerning the incursions of other dimensions into our world and creating such phenomena as altered items and objects of power. At the behest of Zachariah Trench, who both the Barnett twins kind of answer to in lieu of their their agent parents, basically all of you were tasked with investigating a potential object of power out within a small Finnish town within the Catskills Mountains. So essentially, you had been called to a domestic disturbance at the Paolo residence within the Catskills and in the town of Markham, New York. You had just started undergoing your investigation of everything with both Dr. Katz and Dr. Bancroft providing kind of on-site experiential learning to our resident twins, Jamie and Jane. All of you were conducting fairly thorough examinations of the site in question. Namely, you were called to the scene and you immediately ascertained that there had been a scuffle inside of the house. Windows had been broken. And not only that, but you put two and two together, finding evidence of a break-in in which two masked assailants made their way into the home of the Palos. The Palos themselves being a small family of two parents and a young girl. You guys have uncovered from the autopsy photos and the dossier that Director Trench gave you that it is probably fairly likely that the two burglars or would-be burglars were somehow transformed or basically kind of put into stasis by whatever unnatural phenomena, paranatural phenomena is happening on site at this house. Not only that, but Dr. Katz, you had determined that there was a large source of paranatural energy coming from the upstairs of the large single-family dwelling. You understood also that all of the soil outside of the house was exhibiting evidence that it had been shifted into or had been kind of remade compositionally by paranatural energy. And with this information, you ascended the stairs and furthermore up into a attic at the very top of this building with the assistance of 4 rangers who had decided to accompany you. Bonus points to anybody who remembers the name of the captain.
Like,
O'Donnell.
Captain O'Donnell.
Captain
I
O'Donnell.
know.
Wrote it down.
All
I
right.
wrote it down too.
Everybody gets 2 build points because you guys remembered that, and not because that is a procedural thing that happens in GUMSHOE.
Race.
Where do 2 build
Gonna write
points
that down
go?
too.
Yeah, you guys may spend 2 build points to increase either your investigative or your general abilities. As usual, the way this would come out in play, guys, is that you would essentially reveal talents that you've been keeping hidden all along, or making the talents you have that much more indicative of your level of skill.
Question. If we have used... So I'm, of course, going to dump it into stability because, and it makes sense because Jane is keeping her shit together better than expected. Does this, but she's also lost some stability. So does this bump what she's lost all the way up, or does it bump it only 2 as well? Like her max and her current?
I will say that you can bump your max and your current with this, this investment. So
Sweet.
returning to the, any other quick questions before I return to the recap?
Can we add points to existing stuff and add new points to stuff that we did not previously have points in?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah. And so basically you guys had ascended the stairs with the help of Captain O'Donnell and the 3 accompanying rangers that were leading, helping kind of co-lead this on-site investigation with you. You uncovered, with the help of Dr. Bancroft's understanding of kind of analysis of the past and historical information pertaining to the house, that inside the attic was what clearly must have been an object of power, a large Victorian-style dollhouse, and to either side of it appear to be 2 kind of large hooded figures, or not hooded, but kind of sheet-adorned figures that, with the launching of a Capri Sun at one of these figures, started their animation, and it soon revealed to you that the creatures that were under those sheets were in fact some sort of creature that exhibits all of the qualities of a large porcelain mannequin. And so it is as these 2 figures are approaching that we find our heroes starting back up once again into the middle of the series. Captain O'Donnell has opened fire, and now we are going to transition into combat, or kind of action mode, as you were. So I need to change the music right quick, because as these creatures come to life, we find that there is a odd music that begins to emit out of the facade of the dollhouse that itself has this strange kind of calliope music and quality to it. And as this music begins to sound, we are going to check on initiative. So the way combat works in GUMSHOE is basically anybody who has a higher scuffling rating than the opponents in this case are going to go first. How is everybody's scuffling within the group?
Jane's an 8.
Mm-hmm.
I have no scuffling. I cannot scuffle.
You cannot scuffle? I see.
I cannot.
I got a little bit scrappy.
Okay.
It's a 3.
Okay. And finally, Dr. Katz, how are you doing?
I'm sitting on a 6.
Okay.
Ooh.
So double checking the
More like
Rangers.
Dr. Katz fight.
So in this case,
Maybe the claws are about to come out.
yeah.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Let's get Caddy up in here.
The cat's claws.
Or maybe somebody will be startled and jump very high and stumble over something.
Excellent. So the very first thing that happens is these mannequin-like creatures move with surprising swiftness to descend upon the nearest ranger. So just so we can kind of paint this picture, the Rangers have been kind of leading the way up into the attic. Where are you guys relative to the Rangers? We're in this kind of attic that has all of this kind of covered sheeted furniture, as well as at the very center with light shining on it as the dusk turns to night, the Victorian dollhouse itself. So where are you guys in relation to these 4 Rangers?
My understanding based on last time was that Katz has said, don't approach, and they all took a step back, and then we approached. So my understanding was that we were not touching the dollhouse, but closer to the dollhouse, and weren't Jamie and I all like up in Katz's business on each side of Katz?
As I recall, the twins were manhandling Katz.
Yep, that tracks.
And I believe we were in pretty close proximity to one of the sheeted figures.
Mm-hmm.
We were close enough to throw a Capri Sun at.
We were.
Yeah, and then the other one woke up.
Sun lobbing range.
Yeah. So I think the Rangers are behind us.
Mm-hmm.
And so O'Donnell shot from behind us. So we're closer.
To the side. I think I got the feeling that that in terms of that Jane's in the front because you were basically physically restraining Jamie from going and poking at it.
Yep.
And then Katz was kind of right by us. And then the Rangers were back into the side kind of flanking. Because there had been some communication between Jamie, who had kind of silently pointed out what was going on to O'Donnell.
Okay, cool. So in that case, I think Jamie and O'Donnell are going to be the target of these creatures. So what I will go ahead and tell you is that I think also because Jamie, you are the one that threw the Capri Sun. Let's be honest. Let's call it what it is. You antagonize these things.
Let history remember not who threw the first Capri Sun, but who threw the last.
Well, we'll find out who throws the last momentarily. So I would like you to make a scuffle test versus this mannequin-like creature. The other mannequin you see absorbs a bunch of fairly kind of hefty number of bullets from Captain O'Donnell. Before
I was about to ask what has happened with the shooting.
So literally what happens is you see that it absorbs the gunfire, takes a step back, and then moves to close in on O'Donnell and attempt to throttle him. So I think at this point, O'Donnell's weapon does a significant amount of damage to this thing. But the very first thing it does is try to attack him. So go ahead, Jamie, make me a scuffle test. I won't tell you what your difficulty is. Your threshold for this creature is kind of what is within my purview. Your threshold is 4. Unless 4 if you're particularly athletic, 3 if you're not. What's your athletics? Okay. So it is. I need to hit a 3 in order to hit you.
Should this be Jane?
Should
I was
it be
in
Jane?
front of Jamie.
Oh, you were? Okay. In that case.
Yeah, because when Jamie threw the Capri Sun from over my shoulder, I think.
Okay.
Jamie noticed the thing, and I was like, no.
Rating order.
Yeah, absolutely.
That we're using for initiative.
Okay. So Jane, your scuffle, remind me, it was 8. So you tied, actually. So you are moving at the same time. I think that basically this thing is going to try to move and try to grab you. What is your athletics score?
8.
Okay, so it's going to have a higher threshold to hit you. It is going to spend a certain number of scuffle points to try to attack you. What are you doing?
Jane is going to very much try to push this thing, like kind of block whatever attack and kind of divert it, because Katz and Jamie are behind her. So she doesn't want it to go past her. She wants it to go that way.
Okay. I will say that I have rolled to hit. Would you go ahead and roll your scuffle as well?
My scuffle. So I have to pick how many points of scuffle I want to put in here, right?
Right. There is a certain hit threshold that I'm not going to tell you, but you just decide which number of points you want to spend, and then you tell me how much you get.
All right, I'm going to spend 2.
Okay.
And I rolled a 6 on the die.
Okay. So in this case, both of you do meet with some success. I would like you to roll. It sounds like you're not trying to damage them. Whatever this creature is, it is trying to basically throttle you. So I am going to roll damage and tell you how much it does. It does 7 points of health damage to you.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, I rolled really well. So as it tries to throttle you, basically, I will say go ahead and roll either your damage, or you can use that kind of that hit to try to escape its grasp.
So, question here. Over here, it says on here like that my hit threshold was 4.
Mm-hmm.
Does that matter? Is that like how much it has to roll to hit me?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So did you say I can use, instead of taking the damage, I can try to use my scuffle to divert it?
Instead of doing damage, you can try
doing damage.
Yeah, you can try. I will let you try to escape. I will, however, need everybody to make a stability test as soon as we resolve this.
Yeah, I will. I'm gonna try to escape it because there's big guys with guns here.
Okay.
JD's not gonna try to fist fight the thing.
Yeah, I will.
She just wants to tell it to fuck off.
Yeah, I will say that as this thing like grabs at you, it kind of stutters, and you manage to elude its grasp as you realize it reaches out and kind of lean forward and misses, pulling the hadronic resonant emitting the HEV device off of you. And the other one that attacks O'Donnell, I think, let me go ahead and make sure, does not manage to get a hand on the HEV, and instead, again, is beginning to wrestle with O'Donnell, having seemingly just not the worse for wear with that series of gunfire. Whoever has 6 is next on the scuffle.
That's me.
Yeah, go ahead. What do you got?
Okay. Oh boy. All right. So I'm assuming that the twins have let go of Katz at this juncture.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Katz's immediate reaction is to yell at O'Donnell. What are you freaking thinking? Are you crazy? An unknown paranatural entity starts coming at you, and your first response is to fill it full of lead? You have no idea the single thing about that thing. What are you thinking? And starts to see that it's like grappling with. Is it like entangled with Jane at this point?
It managed to, like, I think, grab Jane very roughly by the throat, but I think she managed to kind of kick off of it and away from it.
Okay. And where is O'Donnell now in relation to this scuffle?
I think O'Donnell has surged forward to about level with where Jane was and is trying to, like, basically kind of offer himself in lieu of providing cover to you and the twins.
Okay, so I think Katz's next panic response is get everybody out of here, because clearly O'Donnell has fucked up this situation by making this thing angry.
Okay.
So I'm going to I think. Like Katz is gonna try to just sort of like from like behind Jane, just sort of like very very gently, so gently, just like grab Jane, grab Jamie, and hustle everybody back towards the attic steps.
Excellent.
Where is Dr. Bancroft in relation to us?
Dr. Bancroft, funny you should ask, is an academic and therefore considers herself fairly useless in combat. So Dr. Bancroft has actually gone closer to the Dollhouse because her job is to analyze things, and this is an object of power. So that's where she's closer to the Dollhouse, but probably as a result further away from the doll people.
Okay. So yeah, Katz is like trying to get the twins back and towards the attic steps, and it's probably saying something in effect of, "Okay, back the fuck up, just get back here. Let these dumb meatheads do their dumb lead job."
Excellent. So we now move down to about 4. Who has 4 for scuffle? Okay. So in that case, the Rangers are going to move next. They are going to all but one of them are going to hit. The one that is grappling O'Donnell. And it seems to take enough damage that immediately what it seems to do is just go inert and begin falling onto the legs of O'Donnell, who apparently seems to be weighed down by how heavy this thing is. And I think kind of goes down and is looking kind of panikedly at the other members of the team. The second one having been eluded, or Jane having eluded it, is kind of still beginning to kind of right itself. And now we have, I believe, scuffle count 3. So yeah, go ahead, Jamie. What are you doing?
If Jamie is being hustled back, I think he's going to ooh. Is there anything we can knock over? What's the environment? Like, there's furniture covered in sheets and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Jamie is going to try to kind of kick something like, I don't know, let's say a drop sheet covered ottoman. Just kind of kick it out and try to get between the legs of one of these dolls.
Go ahead and make me, I believe this is going to be a general test. So this is going to be, let me find the right general ability. This is just going to be athletics.
All right. I have a 4 in athletics.
Okay. You may spend however many points you would like. The test difficulty is, as always, going to be between 2 and 8. So go ahead and tell me how many you'd like to spend and then roll.
I'll spend 1.
Okay.
That's a 6.
Okay. You
roll, baby.
You handily kick this thing. I will say, with that high of a score, tell me what this looks like.
I think this as Katz is kind of yoinking Jamie back, and Jamie's like doesn't quite have time to react negatively to being touched by this person, this very loud, angry person, that it's very stressful. Jamie kind of like sees these things going after people, and just kind of lashes out with a boot covered foot, and you just watch this ottoman spin across the floor and tangle in the legs of one of these doll creatures. Just messing up their footing as they're moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna roll its athletics to try and kind of right itself. It manages to roll just under what you had done with the athletics roll, so it actually ends up going prone. And I think, Jamie, there is this moment of triumph followed by a moment of horror as it begins crawling over towards where O'Donnell is trapped underneath the other mannequin. So as we move to the end of this round, I need everybody to make me a stability test because you have seen a horrible set of paranatural entities trying to kill you. Your stability test is going to be standard, so it's going to be the threshold is going to be 4. Spend however many points you want. If you do not get 4 on the test, you will suffer stability loss. So go ahead.
And we have to spend before the roll.
Yes, before the roll.
Okay. Ooh. Okay.
Okay.
Phew. 6.
I'm going to spend 1.
Okay. You're
And
gonna
I spent 1 too.
That is another 6. That is another fucking 6. This dice is. I love this dice. This was my Slytherin dice.
I rolled a 5 on the dice, plus 1, so 6.
Awesome. Okay. So all of you guys, you're fairly used to how weird things are at the FBC. You know, you have read enough case files to know that this is just kind of like a Tuesday for the FBC. So you guys managed to kind of shake off whatever kind of terrifying knowledge this creature represents, and you guys managed to keep your cool as you begin moving away from this creature. We're going to start back over up the top. One of the creatures is now inert, having taken fire from 3 separate rangers. The last one is going to be on top of O'Donnell and is going to try to touch him. And it succeeds. And there is this horrified look on O'Donnell's face as you see this creature grab a patch of his skin and then take the other hand and place it on his exposed part of his underneath his mask for his tactical mask. And you begin seeing the skin where it has touched O'Donnell begin turning porcelain. And the porcelain is beginning to cover O'Donnell's eyes, and he is beginning to scream. So we are going to pick back up after that moment. Scuffle 8, whoever, I believe that's Jane. You're up next. Go ahead.
Is Dr. Bancroft in the order?
Yeah, because I haven't gone yet. But
Oh,
that's
you
okay.
haven't?
I also haven't like attacked
Well, that was
offensively at all. So
Let me actually resolve this because I think what you were
I'm
trying.
asking because of the lack of scuffle, right?
Yeah. I think that what you were trying to do, it sounds like, was to investigate the dollhouse. Let's resolve that action. What would you like to do?
yeah, she is trying to investigate the dollhouse while all of this is going on. I think something that has struck her is that the many times that she has been involved in various paranormal and paranatural events, they each have their own kind of logic to them, and that often you can gain more insight about what's happening in the event if you figure out what the patterns are, what the logic of this particular narrative, this particular world is. And I think that's what she's trying to establish as she approaches the dollhouse. I think she finds herself, she knows about this little girl. I'm trying to remember what her name was, the young daughter, Amelia?
Amelia.
Amelia Paolo. Mm-hmm.
So I think as she's approaching the house, she's kind of singing under her breath, like, ring around the rosy, a pocket full of posies. And she is basically like reaching out into the ether to try to connect to Amelia, who she hypothesizes the presence that is controlling these dolls.
Okay. So I'm going to say that this could be two separate things. It sounds like you are either trying to do reassurance as a kind of investigative ability, which is interpersonal. It could also be that you are trying to shrink, essentially, as part of a general ability. Are there any other abilities that you think match what you are trying to do?
I get the feeling like from what she's trying to do here, it's very interpersonal. Like she's trying to reach a specific entity that she knows is out there and exists somewhere. So I was either thinking, reassurance, or even, I mean, if you wanted to make paranatural studies under academic a possibility too, that's also one, but it does feel a little more interpersonal to me.
I will say that this is probably reassurance. Do you have points in reassurance?
I do.
Excellent. So I want, as you kind of like, I'm going to say you can go ahead and give this a point spend. And you may spend points to kind of accomplish what you're intending. But as you are doing this, I want you to explain to me where this kind of expertise and reassurance, this kind of interpersonal knowledge has come from for Dr. Bancroft. Like, give us kind of this moment.
I think as she's reaching out for this spirit or trying to go into the ether and connect to this child that she believes to be out there, she has a moment where if you could see into her mind's eye, it would flash to a scene in a very cavernous old house, very, very rich, wealthy looking furniture around, and very stilted, like it's been staged, almost like it's a dollhouse in its own right. The furniture just so, nothing out of place. And in that house, the adults move around like zombies. They are actors performing parts. And you would see Vivian darting between them as a small child, tugging at a skirt, but no one pays her any mind. They are talking amongst themselves. And you would follow Vivian as she would climb the stairs to her own room, playing with her own dollhouse. She would pick up the figures and have them talk to one another. And we see young Vivian Bancroft giving them small, tiny doll-sized books. And the two dolls, she makes them talk about the book to each other. And that's sort of the flash that you get of, as she's reaching out for this child, she knows what it's like to be in a room full of adults and people that you don't know and that pay you no heed or no mind, and that your dollhouse is your escape. And that's what she's trying to infuse into the reassurance she's trying to give to this girl.
I will say this, that as you kind of do this, you use your investigative ability, your reassurance, you sing to this dollhouse, and very quietly and very slowly, that music of Calliope music begins to fade and to die down. And the very next thing you notice is that the music fades until it is completely silent. And I need to reflect that in the actual music. And it seems like for a moment that these mannequins have stopped in their tracks. I think that one of them is still touching O'Donnell's face through the kind of tactical mask that he's wearing. And those points of contact of where that skin is beginning to become porcelain is still in such a way that it doesn't seem, the effect has not abated. One of the shards of porcelain is in the process of covering his eye, but he is beginning to hyperventilate and breathe very quickly. And then suddenly the mannequins, both of them, lurch up and take several steps back to where their original positions were in the attic and stand at attention. What do all of you do? I believe we are out of combat now.
Okay.
Jane is immediately gonna. Oh. Yeah, Jane's gonna immediately turn to Jamie and visually inspect how he is. You okay there?
Yeah, I'm good. What are they doing? Looking at. Like Jamie just is like clearly like hyper fixating, like kind of like I think you're like trying to look, and like Jamie's like looking around you to try to put eyes on these things and whatever they're doing. Yeah, worry about I don't remember his name.
Okay. Katz is like kind of moving through you and is going to shout out to the other rangers, like just moving past whatever conversation you're having. Okay, which one of you knuckleheads is a medic?
And I think the one that is there is one that quickly moves to Captain O'Donnell to investigate him, and he just raises his hand.
Yeah, okay. Get him out of here.
Yeah.
I guess my question is, what Jane did take 7 damage. So what does, like, has she turned partially porcelain? Like, what does her damage look like?
The interesting thing is that where this thing touched you, as you are being led out, as Captain O'Donnell is being led out from or kind of picked up from the floor, and you see that porcelain skin, you move to check your own throat, and you realize that there hasn't been any kind of transmogrification or anything, and you kind of breathe this sigh of relief. However, where those fingers impacted you, it does feel like your skin is slightly number. And the numbness seems to radiate out, but you have a feeling that whatever effect ongoing was going to transpire there changed as soon as these creatures became inert.
Okay.
You kids
Jane,
okay?
I think, I mean, I don't look porcelain, do I? I'm a little numb, but
a manifestation of the effect.
okay. And this thing, did it pull my thing off of me, or did it break it?
Actually, I will tell you this. You mean your HEV?
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say this: with the damage that was suffered, you notice that I think there is a moment where you realize that the HEV as you actually, do you have any points in mechanics or anything like that?
Nah, I worked at a newspaper before this internship, so her skills are, she likes to pump iron to work off her rage, and kind of force people into giving her answers. So no mechanics.
I will tell you this, as far as you can tell in your limited knowledge, it appears completely functional.
Okay. All right. Well, I think Jane will have Jamie secured again, because I guess it did kind of tug on it. I still don't know what this thing does, but at least I don't think it busted it up.
Oh shit! Did the captain have an HRA on?
Yeah, that was it. It wasn't an HEV, it was an HRA. Yeah, the captain had an HRA. It seems to have suffered.
Well, these things are useless. Shit.
And I think
that's David.
as this thing fell on, as they have pulled Captain O'Donnell out, you realize that there is very clearly a part of the mechanism that has been smashed from where this creature impacted it falling down. In fact, there are some really interesting. There is something that I want to kind of check on the Barnetts. When you guys first listened to the mini disc player, did you guys ever have a song that you heard when you first listened to it?
I'm not clever with music, Hopper. This is you.
I hate this question. That's me as a player. Yeah, I think there was what was very clearly probably a direct lift from the riff of In the Air Tonight, done in 8-bit style.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that you just hear some bars in the you maybe it could be your imagination, Jane, but you hear bum 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 bum, 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 and then just it kind of trails off.
Immediately, Jane's nails are dug into Jamie's arm as she looks around.
Ow.
Did you hear that?
Hear what? Katz? Yeah, he said something technical.
Oh, it's fucking Phil Collins.
Phil. You heard Phil Collins? You think he's one of these things? No, wait, no, you mean Phil.
Yeah.
Music. You mean music.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And Jamie's also looking around kind of suspiciously now. Shit.
Dr. Katz, Dr. Bancroft.
What's up?
Can we not be here now? What's the plan?
Dr. Bancroft's hand is hovering over the top of the doll's house, and she has a transfixed, hypnotized look in her eye.
Yeah, Katz gives you two kind of like a hold up sort of a thing, and is sort of approaching Dr. Bancroft and kind of I think actually gently places a hand on your shoulder and says, Vivian?
She jumps like 5 feet in the air. Myron, I've reached something.
What's
The
your
girl.
hypothesis?
The girl, the 8-year-old daughter. I think this is her dollhouse. I think this is
Okay.
where she came to play, to make her own world, create her own reality. But how would she know that her dollhouse was an object of power and that it could create that reality for her?
You're suggesting that she's controlling the entities.
Do they look like dolls to you? Yes, it's precisely what I'm proposing.
All right. Well, what's our next step here? They seem to be neutralized for now. But
For now, but a child doesn't have a long attention span.
right.
She'll
my
get
thoughts
bored
exactly.
quickly.
And I think at this point, one of the rangers kind of chimes in and says, according to, I'm acting captain now while O'Leary's attending to O'Donnell, but most important thing is just, I think we need to set up a perimeter. We need to call according normal evacuation procedures for a FBC protocols. As soon as we can get a containment tent around this, isolate those entities, we can start moving the OOP.
Yes, I think we need a laboratory for this. We need to analyze it. We need to contain it, see what it's capable of. But I guess there's an open question about whether she'll let us take it away. She may not.
Well, I think if we act quickly, maybe whatever's in there can, at least we can get the jump on it, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm in
She-
agreement.
She
Containment
gives a
procedure.
curt nod.
And so they begin, at which point the new acting captain looks at all of you and says, all right, I'm going to phone it in. And immediately there is a flurry of activity. I assume that you guys are staying with the dollhouse, or are you moving down a floor? How are you guys kind of treating that?
Yeah, I think Vivian is not leaving the perimeter of the dollhouse. She's staying, well, at least where it's in eyeshot.
Katz sort of is going to just lower his voice a little bit to you, Vivian. You okay?
Of course, why wouldn't I be? It's just a doll's house.
Well, that guy's face turned into porcelain, so, you know.
Well, we've seen worse.
Sure, but hey, doesn't take much sometimes.
Are you okay? I know you
Oh,
have a
yeah.
delicate constitution sometimes with these things.
Okay, thanks. Great. Right. Just trying to see if you're all right, and you gotta go and start throwing around phrases like delicate constitution. And I only threw up that one time in the field, the 2 times in the field, and then the other times in the lab. But those were very stressful situations, okay?
I remember
So-
I had to clean it up once. I did a very good job too.
I appreciate it.
And she
Okay.
smiles genuinely for probably the first time this whole episode.
All right. Well, we gotta. You think we gotta keep eyes on this thing until they get containment in here?
Of course. I don't think we should let it out of our sight.
Okay. So we should collect data
Yes.
while we have the chance.
Probably should collect data on those things too, if we can. A sample. I mean, who knows what'll happen if we touch it, but still could have some useful stuff for you, presumably.
Yeah. All right. Let me see if I can enlist the kids here.
All right. As you guys, as you are setting off to grab them, what are Jamie and Jane up to?
I think Jamie's interested in what's going on with O'Donnell, because that's cool.
And I think at this point, I think that there is a medic that is attending to O'Donnell, and basically what this medic O'Leary is doing is beginning to touch kind of the exposed parts with a gloved finger, and saying to O'Donnell, "You feel this?" And literally just touching the outcropping where it was moving to cover the eyelid. "Do you feel this?" And O'Donnell just, "No, I don't feel that. No." And then at which point O'Leary says, "All right, I'm going to let the lab coats take a look at this one, as I don't want to break that off and like end up hurting you." And O'Donnell just kind of nods, and O'Leary turns his attention from O'Donnell and then just looks and says, "Ooh, that's a nasty abrasion right there," and begins pointing at your throat, Jane.
Mm.
Can I ask a geography question?
Absolutely.
Where are we? Have we moved out of the basement, out of the attic? Are we in a different location in the attic? Are we outside the house? Like,
I think that
where have they moved O'Donnell to?
I think O'Donnell is on the flight below you guys on the second floor, just wherever they could immediately administer triage. So that question that I have is, how far do you guys, do you guys stay in the attic, or how far do you go down? Do you just kind of collect the twins?
Well, was the medic looking at my neck?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
He has moved over to kind of observe the abrasions.
Jamie's gonna go kind of swap places, I think, and is gonna go over to O'Donnell while O'Leary comes over and looks at Jane.
Okay, what are you doing?
Starting off by photographing the porcelainification.
Absolutely. You just very handily take that picture, and as you kind of take that picture, you can't help but notice where the transition to normal flesh to pallid porcelain, it's very subtle. It's incredibly subtle, as though it was just kind of a natural kind of gradient from flesh to porcelain.
Does it look like, in Jamie's professional opinion, he's looked into a lot of weird shit in his days. He's a curious little critter. And does it look like the flesh is turning into porcelain, or the porcelain is expanding outwards?
I will tell you this. If you go ahead and give me, is there any kind of investigative ability you can do a relative spend here?
I do have chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
I also have a couple points. Well, medic's more of a general ability. I have chemistry and natural history
I will say this.
Those would be the two I would argue for.
Let's just make this a medicine check. You can go ahead and give me a roll. It's probably not going to be a hard roll as if you touch it with your hands is the big thing.
I have gloves. I might be an intern, but I'm still a professional. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then
just because I'm unpaid doesn't mean I'm unprofessional.
Okay. I have set the difficulty challenge. Go ahead and roll your medical ability.
All right, I'm just gonna roll. That was a terrible choice. That's a 1.
Okay. As you move to touch the porcelain, I think a part of it breaks off in your hands. I think you were kind of like expecting it to be a little bit more durable, whatever it was. And as it breaks off, flesh peels with it, and you realize, oh no, this thing is transforming flesh into porcelain. And O'Donnell begins cursing and screaming, holding this part of his face.
Look, I know that hurts, but don't touch that.
Get the fuck away from me, Jesus Christ!
Katz sticks his head out of the door to the attic. What the hell did I say about touching?
Yeah, and I think that Jane...
Samples?
Yeah, Jane O'Leary was looking at you and now has turned back to O'Donnell and it's just like is beginning to pull Jamie away.
Jamie.
Hold on. And
come here, kid. Come here.
Pulls that up, like
back upstairs.
Pulls out a sample bag and drops that in there.
Bring that.
The pragmatism is very appreciated.
Vivian like locks eyes with Myron is like, well, I did get a sample.
Sample.
And
good job, kid.
I think on this we are going to fade to black as we kind of montage the ensuing events following this. So I think at this point,
do we fade to black with an 8-bit rendition of something?
Yeah. No, I think yes, but only in spirit. So I think that you guys managed to wait for the evac team. The rest of the night transpires without incident. I will say that you guys...
Are we allowed to... I'm sorry to interrupt you, Zach. Yeah. Are we allowed to investigate anything else at this point?
You are absolutely...
I have a very specific question. And
you may...
We can like fold this into montage.
You may... you may ask that question. I am happy to give you an answer. What do you got?
Because like 100% if we're going into montage, like Katz, and I don't think anybody else is really going to stop poking around while we're all waiting for the containment equipment. But tell me if now is the appropriate moment or not.
Yeah, please go ahead. What are you gonna do?
Oh, okay. So we definitely get a scene of Katz going back out, and now that we have seen the dollhouse and Vivian has discussed like the photos and other information that she found with this dollhouse, Katz wants to take another soil sample with the ceramic soil and see if there's any way to date it.
Absolutely.
To see how long this soil has been embedded with this ceramic material.
Okay. So you begin kind of doing standard carbon dating procedures. I take it you're using archaeology or parageology.
I got points in both. It could be either.
I will tell you what, if you spend a point, I can give you down to the minute.
Ooh.
I would very much like this information, so I am going to spend one of my geology points.
Excellent. So I think that as you are kind of performing your carbon dating, and as you are kind of like dating it, you realize that you are using kind of like an archaeological method, and you're expecting like a matter of years or maybe even like at the very least weeks. And you realize like perhaps it's always been kind of emitting this kind of field. You realize that your dating has to get even more exact and more granular with the actual dating procedure that you use. So you begin kind of like testing it with your on-site, with your kind of portable chemistry set, your kind of litmus testing there. And it strikes you that there is something strange about the reading where it has been it seems like the soil, this kind of transformation, whatever it is, occurred over the course of a matter of days. And you realize that the number of days that it took for this soil to be created or what have you corresponds directly to the night before the two strange porcelainified bodies were found, where they were found during the day, the following day. So,
okay.
And then working in tandem with Jane, you realize that corresponds directly to about the time of night when the intrusion and the attempted burglary occurred.
So the soil was not ceramic up until the point of the break-in. After the point of the break-in, ceramic.
Yeah, not if not at the point, then not soon, not too long after.
Cool. That definitely answers my question.
Cool. So yeah, I will tell you this. Does anybody have any more investigative business they'd like to conduct before this object of power is moved off of site?
Yes. So Vivian would like to take a look at Amelia's room in this house.
Mhm.
I think she's feeling or having this sort of ephemeral, brief connection to this girl, or at least what she assumes is this girl. She wants to know or try to glean what she can about her. And I think this might be either like a point in forensic psychology, or it could just be sort of like a document analysis, data retrieval from, or evidence collection from her room.
Yeah, well, let me ask you, what are you trying to ascertain here? You might not even need to spend at all.
She is trying to get a sense of who this girl is. What are her interests? What books does she have? Like, what could she glean about who she is as a person based on her room?
Absolutely. I think that there is a few things that you can tell. I think that right off the bat, she has a bookshelf filled with just children's books. There are several photos of her and her parents kind of standing together, hugging and kind of embracing. At one point, there's a photo of her father kind of holding her up on his bicep and kind of like her on top of his shoulder. And so basically there just seems like off the bat, it seems like they were a fairly kind of tight-knit, almost stereotypically wholesome looking family. I will tell you this, with textual analysis, if you give me 1 point, I can give you some more information.
Yes, I do have a point in textual analysis, so I will give it to you.
Okay. So as you go through the storybooks, there are a lot of like time-honored classics. There's Where the Wild Things Are. There are, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, I'll Love You Forever, I'll Love You for Always. There's all these really great kind of like classical books. And there is one that is very well dog-eared. I would say it was actually the I Love You Forever, I Love You for Always book. Basically, and the book itself is just kind of like the story of a child basically, being reassured every night by their parent, even when they're kind of struggling, even when times are kind of rough on the parent, just always kind of like basically cooing to the child this I love you forever, I love you for always where as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. And so the idea is that, you know, this copy is so dog-eared that either the father or the mother read it continuously. So I think the thing that you get is there is a very loving relationship here. There is not kind of like, you know, I think in any type of like, if you think of things like the apparent kind of poltergeist phenomena, paranatural phenomena, where, you know, there's anxiety or problems at home that cause children to manifest paranatural abilities. At least that's kind of like the official story on, according to FBC. You realize that it doesn't have any of those hallmarks. It seems that whatever has transpired is probably been triggered by that night, and also did not have any kind of necessarily mark of anxiety or kind of like anxiousness or pressure that may have been exerted on the child herself.
I think as Vivian is skimming through this book, she recognizes this and files this information away. And there's a thoughtful look on her face as she just mutters to herself, she was lucky.
I will also let you know that the pictures that you see, the manner of dress of the parents in the photograph are very similar to the manner of dress of the mannequins that you encountered.
That is good to know. Yeah, so I think she clocks that too, and sort of extrapolates that perhaps these dolls have been created as stand-ins for this girl's parents.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything left before the recovery team takes this object of power? Cool. Okay. So, basically, you guys recover the object of power. You take it. I'm going to say that it is kept in containment after a period of research in which you guys are able to conduct additional tests. I will say, without spending any points, that this object of power, as you kind of recognize it, Vivian, as you're kind of looking through, you realize it exhibits some of the properties of a object of power that might create a threshold, literally a dimensional incursion into space.
I think with that realization, she's gonna find Dr. Katz and just kind of tap him on the shoulder.
How much time has elapsed?
Oh yeah, where are we in time?
I will.
We were still at. I was assuming we were still in the house, and it hasn't jumped yet. But
Okay, I will say that this is something that needs to be conducted with a lab. So we can actually kind of slow this down and take a couple of steps back if you guys would like to kind of like see how this transpires.
if she gets this whatever point she gets this knowledge, if that's back in the lab or back at the Federal Bureau of Control, I think then she will go to try to find wherever Dr. Katz is at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll go ahead and we'll touch base with the twins as soon as we have this one seen. Yeah, so you tap Dr. Katz.
I think there's a dimensionality to this artifact.
What do you do? Hi. Yes. Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
How are you?
Oh, pleasantries. Yes. It's
yes.
Don't you just want the information? Do we have to go through the rigmarole of the hi, how are you, etc.? Aren't we past that?
If you're gonna sneak up on me out of nowhere in the middle of my lab, then I would at least appreciate some sort of warning. We don't have to have pleasantries. You could just shout across the room, warning.
Oh yeah, that's because that's how people greet each other. Warning, I'm approaching.
You're the one who just said you didn't want pleasantries.
You could have heard the door. If you were paying attention, there are indicators that I was anyway, that's not the point. Do you want the information?
To my work. Information on what? What are we talking
Information on the dollhouse, the object of power. What else would I be talking about?
Okay. Yes, I would. What have you found out?
I have a hypothesis. I get
Right, shoot.
the impression that, well, this thing has some dimensionality associated with it, if you know what I mean. Beyond three-dimensionality, as in could produce or become a dimension or somehow intercede in a dimension. You know, astral plane stuff.
Mm-hmm. The object is a threshold.
Yes, of course. I should have just said that. I'm trying to, get used to having interns and having to explain these things.
Well, explain away.
You see, I had this thought when I first saw the dollhouse. And, the fact that I was able to reach this child or was able to stop what was happening in that attic, it kind of lends itself to this theory, which is that what if the dollhouse contains its own kind of universe or connection to the astral plane, like the stories that this girl tells with it or the little games she plays with the dolls? What if that in some way was real to her or created a reality that you could enter and that you could become a part of?
And the object of power within its own threshold manifests these narratives as reality.
Well, precisely. I mean, a normal dollhouse wouldn't be able to do such a thing, but this one just happens to be an object of power. She wouldn't know any different. She's just the author of the story.
And you're telling me this just to sort of bounce ideas around because I was the other one there?
Well,
and not for any other reason that you're about to get to that I'm not going to like.
It's funny you should say that. It's almost like you have an instinct for when I have something to say of this type.
Well, listen, I think that we have an intimate enough relationship, or had, that at this point I have a great hunch for when you're about to say something that I'm not going to like, Vivian.
Okay, that aside, which doesn't have a place in a scientific conversation, Myron, I think we should go in.
Yep. Yeah. Oh boy. Okay, great. That's, I thought that was going to be it. And it was.
How else do you think we should get to the bottom of this? If the girl is in the astral plane or whatever reality this dollhouse may or may not have created on its own, to find her, you have to become a part of the narrative, That's the logic of the dollhouse, after all.
As you are kind of having this moment where you're kind of making this supposition to Myron, you see a number of FBC agents, some of whom you recognize. One of whom you recognize is Emily Pope, the assistant to Dr. Darling, from who is the head of research, is moving past, I think, your kind of the open office door of this lab. And you see them moving en route to your laboratory, Dr. Bancroft. It is on that note, however, they seem to be striding with a purpose. We are going to rejoin you in just a moment. I want to check in on the twins. So Jamie and Jane, a lot's kind of transpired here. There's, I think that all of you were a little bit shaken by, I think, your first foray into the field. How are you guys holding up?
I think all told, Jane's doing okay because Jamie's fine. I think she'd be worse if she had been porcelainized. Like, yes, what happened to O'Donnell was astonishing, but also seeing what happened downstairs had kind of put the realm of porcelainization already in her mind. I will say it's very good that she is not hearing the conversation between the grown-ups right now, because that's gonna cause her to panic. But right now, I think she's kind of wrapped her head around the things that they've encountered so far. Like, there's some weird, she's chalking it up to tech though. The weird tech stuff. But mostly Jamie's okay. So she's kind of just going to take like a bit of a back seat and just watch over him for a bit instead of trying to like actively investigate herself.
I think that there is a point where when you're kind of like in this moment, Director Tomasi, the director of the head of communications at FBC, I think probably kind of corners you at some point and just says, so how was the first trip out in the field?
More scrappy than I was expecting it to be. Didn't expect to get in a fight, but glad all that time at the gym came in useful, I suppose.
You see, now this is why I like to stay here. Let me just tell you. You couldn't drag me out into the field. I'm sorry you had to go. Director Trench said it was a matter of significant importance.
Yeah, I mean, I would stay here as well. There's no snacks out there for one thing. And when you bring snacks, they look at you like you're a crazy person. So, I mean, I don't know where their priorities are. And I'm gonna go say that the communications group definitely has like a snack bar.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Snacks are important.
Snacks are important. There's obvious like points where you kind of have to. I think what you guys have done is you've put all the coffee cups and the dishes onto a cart, so whenever the house shifts, you guys can just kind of wheel it with you to whatever place becomes the new like snack lounge.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
Mobile snacks.
Hell yeah.
Cactus snacks.
We've truly advanced
without snacks.
We've truly advanced as far as we can as a race.
Yeah, I think otherwise Jane's good. But I think Jamie might notice that she's checking in on him more than usual.
Yeah, Jamie, how are you holding up after all of the excitement?
Jamie's great. This was cool. This is really cool. Yeah, like I think he's going over all of these pictures because I don't think anybody quite realized how many pictures he took of everything in this space. And he's got a little one of those little areas that people kind of forget about. Like I think we're looking at like that janitor's office vibe, like just a room that hasn't been used in a long time and just gets shuffled around and nobody ever bothers to clean it out. And Jamie's kind of found a little space there. It's the new intern office, and every time things shift, he finds it again. But he's hung up all of these photos to create a 3D representation of that attic space, and has like the light source coming from where the staircase would have been, and is just kind of looking at it, and just keeps humming the first few bars of Something in the Air Tonight by Phil Collins.
And you just hear a familiar voice behind you. That's an interesting picture show. And you see Audie, the perpetually Walkman wearing janitor, looking at you and then kind of like admiring but not really admiring the pictures. He seems to be mopping the floor around this kind of makeshift intern area you've created.
Yeah, I think like this room's probably fucking filthy outside of this space that Jamie is like kind of cleared, and it's honestly the space that he's cleared is not great. So I'm imagining it's kind of like mopping a disaster zone, which makes this image much funnier to me at least. Yeah, it's something, isn't it? Can I help you? Are you lost?
It's just my job to maintain the house. I'm just doing my rounds, waiting for my new assistant.
You get an assistant, huh? Well, I hope they pay them.
Maintenance is the most important job in the oldest house.
That makes sense. Like Jamie's clearly really like just like, oh god, this conversation's already excruciatingly long. What you guys mop a lot, I guess.
And yeah, just again, just kind of like nodding, not really kind of present or listening, it seems.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna go back to what I'm doing now. And Jamie just kind of like turns, just like, if I can't see him, he can't see me, kind of vibes, and goes back to like kind of note, like I think something about that space and about the dollhouse bothers him. And he can't put his finger on it, and that's really irritating. And this is we're on full on ADHD hyperfixation, and the fact that Janie heard something, like, and she does her best. She likes to pretend that all that stuff never happened, and Jamie doesn't pretend that. And so that means that something's real wrong if she mentioned it.
And I think you just hear in Finnish being spoken behind you as I think as you're kind of pondering these pictures. And when you turn to respond, Ahti is no longer standing behind you.
Damn, I wish I spoke whatever the fuck that was. And Jamie's just in this room, like, and I'm picturing like very dark now like whatever the door, like, you know, and there's just that one source of light just staring at these pictures that I think are suspended on strings, and this is the it's an intense little but very meditative little space.
Well, I think I will say this. I think first off, all of you guys make sure all of your investigative abilities and your general abilities are replenished, all of your pools, as this represents a significant passage of time. I will say, let us quickly rejoin that scene where you had just seen Pope and the researchers passing in the hall in front of, presumably on the way to your lab, Vivian.
Yeah, I think Vivian exchanges glances with Dr. Katz, and like kind of motions to him, like, clearly something's up, you might want to come along, and like strides very quickly back to her office to intercept.
Katz looks longingly at a miscellaneous rock sample on his lab table, and then does like a dramatic, like, Paul Rudd in Wet Hot American Summer. And follows after Dr. Bancroft.
Vivian notices this and visibly and noticeably rolls her eyes.
Yeah, Vivian rolls her eyes so hard they make a noise, Katz. So I will say that as you kind of are accompanying each other back to the lab, you notice that there is a team of people, and they seem to be several researchers as well as rangers who are moving separately the bodies that you guys found. But first and foremost, they're taking very extra special care to apparently move the dollhouse itself. At the head of the team, kind of ineptly supervising it, is a fellow with a very long kind of graying hair that sweeps down kind of like almost to his shoulders, but also has a significantly like kind of bald pate at the top with a very haphazard comb over it. And I think all of you have trouble recognizing who it is for just a moment until you realize, oh, it's that creepy guy from the Panopticon. Head of the supervisor of Panopticon security, basically Frederick Langston is supervising the move of the Dollhouse while Emily Pope, the assistant to Dr. Darling, is looking on. What do you guys do?
Well, there's your OOP.
There it is indeed. I think she strides into her office, very authoritative, the head of her department, because of course she is. Can I help you with something?
And I think that Emily Pope looks to strike up a conversation with you, or immediately to respond, but before she can, Frederick Lanston kind of cuts her off. He seems to be wearing one of those HRAs that you guys were wearing before, and just starts looking at all of you saying, what was it? Yeah, no, special dispensation. We're moving this object of power into containment. Any other questions you might have, I'm happy to answer back at the Panopticon. Right now, it's more of like a matter of urgency, as it is with all objects of power moving to containment. Thank you very much.
Well, we haven't studied it. We haven't even begun study of it. On whose authority are you doing this?
Dr. Casper Darling's directly. Yes.
That can't be right. We
Jane
just
turns
recovered
to
it.
Jamie. Wait, are the twins there?
I will say this. If you guys have been spending more time, you can certainly be there.
I feel like because they were there for between them being there and the herd shit, I feel like they're spending way more time under the guise of being assigned interns to Bancroft and Katz.
We're
But
taking
the reason
advantage of the fact that nobody knows what we actually do at any given time, so we can just say, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be assisting blank today, or I'm on an errand for this.
But basically, Jane, the reason I was asking, because at this point, Jane definitely whispers to Jamie, which one of them outranks the other one? How does this work? Do you know?
I don't know. I think it's whoever's loudest.
Yeah. And I think
come on, Vivian.
and
Use those paps.
And Langston, regardless of how little authority he seems to command in a room, he also still is a master, a 10th level black belt in bureaucracy. And the very first thing he does is he says, I have the requisition forms right here. Take the time, all you need to read them. Where you have things to do.
Sorry, I think my time would be better spent investigating the artifact. Are we not allowed to visit it in the Panopticon, at least, if you must take it out of my lab?
Yep, but that is going to be a Form 33A-B1. You are more than welcome to drop that off at your earliest convenience.
Oh, no. You see, you will not be leaving my office until I fill out said Form 31AB, and you will take it with you because we are following this artifact.
You are more than welcome to walk and talk.
She crosses her arms and pulls out her pen.
And then I think that as you guys are moving along, I think that there is something that catches your eye, Vivian, as I think you're moving through the office. You hear one of your least favorite noises in all of the Federal Bureau of Control. In the oldest house, the thing that you hear sounds like this. You need
my nope button, and I'm fucking jamming.
Yeah, you I think all of you are familiar now with the child's programming Threshold Kids that was created in-house at the Federal Bureau of Control for the Prime Candidate Program. At least those of you that are kind of like understanding the full context of that, I think the twins, you kind of barely understand what you're looking at. It's just this weird puppet show that plays on in the background, like sometimes like mysteriously, as though some of these TVs appear to, like these TV VCR combos appear to kind of like appear in the background in some office wherever you're walking to in this vast building. But I think that there is this moment where you've heard all of these bits done over and over, Vivian. You've heard like so many of these episodes redone. Inexplicably, it's like whack-a-mole. It seems like as soon as you move one of these TVs, another one sprouts up. But the thing that distracts you is you haven't heard this noise come from the TV after the theme show or the theme song plays, which is you hear, "Hello? Is anybody out there? Hello? I'm looking for the nice lady."
Vivian's eyes go wide.
And you see just looking out through the TV, this fairly disturbingly kind of recreated in the style of the Threshold Kids show, porcelain doll with black hair, with what you recognize is a bow in the kind of the hair in the same style that the child had.
Vivian will motion to the others, like she stops in her tracks and tries to bring everyone around this television. And she approaches it gently and puts her fingers on the screen.
Is that you? Are you
Amelia?
Hi, yeah. I was supposed to tell you. The people with the weird voices, they told me to tell you it's coming.
It's coming. What's coming?
I didn't really understand, but they said it's coming and you should protect yourselves. Because they need your help.
Did they say anything about how?
And I think that there's this kind of like look of confusion which barely registers, and like apprehension which barely registers on this static porcelain doll's face. And it says, the object that they said, the thing that makes the song in opposition, against what they sing. Sing the song that they don't sing.
Sing the song that they don't sing. Dissonance. Amelia, are you okay?
I'm scared.
Are you inside the dollhouse?
And I think that dollhouse, that doll mouth opens, and the only sound that comes out of it is strange calliope music before the picture cuts to static.
Don't like that. Nope.
I got a nope out of Marissa. I'm done my job. This is great.
I love that temporary nope behind you, Hopper.
Yep,
I did see that.
I feel like that's going to get a lot of use over the rest of this.
Uh-huh.
Oh man, now I want
one. Okay.
No, I think maybe mine should say, I think the fuck not.
Yeah,
I was looking for a not today Satan that's free use as well.
I will say this: while you are distracted, Dr. Bancroft, the team is moving at a rapid clip. What do you do?
And I think like Katz has, had eyes locked on the TV and Vivian's interaction as well.
Yeah, I think
Jane's eyes are this big.
Okay, what the hell was that?
I think it was the girl. I think it was Amelia, and I think she's in that dollhouse. We have to go. We have to go now. And she's pointing at the people who are taking the dollhouse away to the panopticon, presumably. She said something's coming.
The dollhouse or the TV?
Both. I don't have time to explain how the astral plane works or how the connections between dimensional realities go, but suffice it to say, if that girl can appear on the TV, it's because she's coming to us from her reality, from the reality that dollhouse contains.
All right.
But while you guys are having this conversation, the Rangers coupled with the researchers and Langston have moved to the sector elevator, and they are hitting the elevator button, moving it to close. You probably are not going to have a ton of time to catch them. My question though is, what does everybody kind of do? Like, do you guys try to find an alternative means? What are you doing?
Can we take a stairwell down?
Well, we better start filling out these requisition forms.
We can do it on the way, and Vivian is trying to intercept. She doesn't want them to take the dollhouse out of her sight. If it's going to the panopticon, it's going to the panopticon with them.
I will tell you this. I'll give you this for free. As the doors are beginning to close on the sector elevator, I think I will say that I was going to say everybody got the full message, right? We're kind of assuming that you guys all saw the same thing, right?
Did we all see the same thing?
Well, my thing about it is, if you were in close proximity to Dr. Bancroft and stayed with her, you would have seen the whole message play out.
Yeah. I have a question, Zach. Jamie's very good at just kind of being places. And sneaking around is a strong word, but Jamie exudes an air of unperson that tends to get people to as an unpaid intern, barely people, somehow legal, and has probably spent a lot of time over the years in this place. Even with it moving around, do you think he knows a way to get down to where they're going that would not be watched?
Yeah.
Can I throw something out as a suggestion?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love the idea that Dr. Bancroft is sort of running for the elevator to intercept them as the doors are closing, and just makes eye contact with Jamie standing quietly in the corner of the elevator behind the whole arrangement.
Okay.
I love that.
I love that, absolutely. I will tell you this also, Dr. Bancroft, I will tell you this. Jamie, I will say that you have charted the house shifts very well, so that you probably know a very indirect but kind of almost like parkour climbing way around that may not be immediately apparent to a lot of people, that will get you to a stairwell that you need to be by.
Yeah, you go through the steam tunnel that doesn't connect to anything, and then through that archival bit, and then usually that connects to this funky little spiral staircase that's all the stairs are slightly too small no matter who you are, and then and that'll take you down through what appears to be an old kitchen, but nobody ever uses a kitchen, and I don't know why why don't we use that as a break room? That's really weird. Anyways,
Jamie, move.
Yeah, I think like I do.
There's a hand on your back.
I do, yeah, because I think that yeah. Fuck, I wish I was in the elevator, but that would be so fun. Yeah, so I think there's like, it's kind of like getting a weird little guided tour from somebody who somehow knows more about this place than any of you do, despite being an intern. And just kind of navigating through very confusing and irrational places, and occasionally doing things like opening up closets that lead to places that they shouldn't. I think it becomes uncomfortable after a while, because it's almost like you're getting like a half-hearted, like kind of like, oh God, they're still looking at me, I have to keep talking kind of energy. And yeah, eventually, wherever that leads us, Zach.
Absolutely. And I will tell you this. So for a point spend, give me a relative point spend to find that. I could also make this a general ability test if you want to see if you can beat them there. The other thing I will say is, Vivian, for a point spend, I can give you a kind of a clear clue that you see as the elevator doors are closing. It's more like along the lines of visual or kind of like analysis or kind of connecting the dots.
I'm gonna spend a point of occult or paranormal studies because this place is fucking weird.
Excellent. Yeah. So I think you can very quickly match pace with the elevator just by virtue of the strange extra dimensional shortcuts in the oldest house.
I'm just trying to see. I don't think there is a notice skill, but like, I guess data retrieval, maybe like noticing data, like connecting data.
I think that
something like that.
I think that, to be honest, I think that this is something that might just very much. Actually, you know what? I will say that this is also going to be your paranormal studies, because this will correspond directly with what you've been kind of experiencing in the field. You know that an HRA, when it is powered on, it generates a hum. It's basically like a hadronic resonance amplifier, and resonance being kind of like this wave-like energy, at least as far as Dr. Darling has kind of explained it. And it has this kind of very subtle sonic property. And you kind of connect it, I think, to what Amelia was saying about the sing the song that's against theirs. So I will say that is kind of what you get as the doors are closing, and Jane is in the background kind of giving you the eye that I'm heading along with it. And it is on that note that we are going to break for the first half. And so you guys are kind of trying your best to kind of make your way towards the object of power. Let's kind of pick back up. Jane, I think that as you are in the back of the elevator, you are kind of like just kind of watching Frederick Langston do the equivalent of talking about the weather with the Federal Bureau of Control agents, the Rangers that are accompanying the object of power, except nobody seems to pay him any mind or listen to him. Just because he is a fairly high up representative doesn't mean that people have to like him. And he is kind of basically conducting a monologue about the health of his cats.
Great. Jane is paying more attention to the other folks to see if, like, are there covert looks being shared? Are, you know, like, what's happening between the security people?
I will say this, that as far as you can tell, this is actually fairly standard operating procedure. There is occasionally from time to time the movement of altered items and objects of power directly into the panopticon or the containment part of the facility. So this is actually fairly normal to you. But I think what is really just strange is kind of like the immediacy and the quickness of it. Typically, a lot of these things have a much longer sustained period of study.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Go ahead.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm just gonna follow right now until we get to where we need to be, and then Jane will ask questions once she's there.
Excellent.
She doesn't want to be waylaid on route, just in case.
Cool.
Is there any reason that we would know of that moving something into the Panopticon would prevent study of it?
I think that typically, if I will say this, with your kind of knowledge of the way things kind of operate within Casper Darling's domain, typically, I think the director and is fairly hands off with some things, but occasionally the director will kind of hand down an order to research, or vice versa, or research will hand down an order to security, to especially when objects of power present a clear and present danger to the oldest house itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think Vivian and Myron, like, you guys see the doors close with Jane in the back. What are you guys doing? Are you following and keeping pace with Jamie? Are you back at your labs? What are you doing?
I mean, I think, Katz will turn to Dr. Bancroft. Unless you're running somewhere or following this thing or doing something else.
No, I think she's probably, I mean, if she wasn't able to get into the elevator before the doors closed, I think the only thing that she will do prior to like embarking on trying to follow Jamie through this alternate route is Zach, is there, like, how do we get HRAs? Like, are they only doled out to us on missions, or like, can you just go get one from somewhere, or how does that work?
I will say
or do
that
we still have the ones that we had on previously, or did we have to get them back?
I will say that you did get to hold on to the HRAs that were given to you. I think that this would have been, these HRAs in particular were special dispensation from Casper Darling's office and from Emily Pope. You notice that everybody that was moving these materials was wearing an HRA. So I think they would still be hanging in your respective laboratories if you want to pick them up.
Cool. Yes. Then I think Vivian will suggest to everyone that we go and collect these before following Jamie on this route.
Cool.
I think she'll also grab from her office just whatever sort of portable equipment she can carry, like on her person, related to dives into the astral plane. Just things that could be useful for having to traverse dimensions.
Absolutely. I think you kind of pick up a spare kind of suit for the astral dive. I think that all of this has to be kind of secured into a fairly hefty kit. So you are going to be moving fairly slowly, just having to carry all of this stuff. The HRA is not a light harness, but once you're strapped in, it's, basically it's just kind of the cost of moving with it. Yeah, Myron, do you follow suit?
Dr. Bancroft, why are we grabbing these things? What are you doing?
Well, we need the HRAs. Didn't you hear her? Didn't you hear Amelia? She said we have to sing the song against the song it sings. That's what the HRA is. It disrupts the amplification.
Fine, cool. Got that one. Let's move like 5 steps back, or at 2 minimum. Where are we going, and why are you collecting the HRA now?
Well, presumably we have to go into the dollhouse, don't we? We have to get Amelia out.
Let's talk to the boss and set up a project for an expedition.
What? You want to go through the official channels for this?
I would like to keep my job and also not get dead.
Well, I'm sorry. Does it seem like them escorting the object of power out of our lab is a good sign for us to be able to continue to work on it? I don't like the looks of this. They're moving it to the Panopticon for a reason, and they're not telling us why.
Listen, they're moving it to the Panopticon because it's a dangerous object of power.
Well, everything
But
we
it's a
deal with
dangerous
is
object of power. It
dangerous.
should be in the Panopticon.
Well, that's not the case for everything. You know that I don't trust upper management. I don't want to have to go through levels of bureaucracy to get access to something that we need to do our job well. Now, if we have to operate outside of bureaucracy to try to get access to the item, then so be it.
So you want to do an end run around Darling and Langston and possibly the director in order to embark on an unauthorized expedition into a threshold that we know nothing about.
Come on, Myron, where's your sense of adventure? And hey, I filled off the form. It's not totally off the record.
Oh my god. We're getting fired if we live.
We're gonna
hand me the thing.
we're gonna
She like winks at you and hands you the thing.
we're gonna quickly just smash cut there real quick. Jamie, what are you getting up to?
So Jamie doesn't care what these guys are doing. Jamie is gonna go. I think it's just a matter of whether they follow or not. So I think there's a period where he's hanging awkwardly back, waiting to see if they properly follow. And if depending on how long that conversation takes, is going to be like, peace.
Yeah,
because Jaden's heading down, and Jamie gets anxious when Jane's not, or like when he doesn't know if that she's safe, and he gets worried pretty fast.
I was gonna say, would you say that the two of you noticed Jamie as he's signaling to you?
I think it's not even signaling. It's just kind of like standing there awkwardly, like.
I think.
I mean, Katz doesn't. I'm gonna be honest. I gotta play my character's truth.
What about you, Dr. Bancroft?
I think Vivian does. I think Vivian has sort of twigged what Jamie is trying to do in terms of like Jamie knowing this like routes around the bureaucracy. But I think like something very oddly motherly like washes over her, and she's like, you, intern, Jamie, right? Put on one of these. Put on your HRA.
Sure. But we gotta. It just there's the I gotta go.
Yeah, I know. We're going, but put on your HRA first.
All right. And I think Jamie like kind of awkwardly, but manages to like a lot of strap pulling and a little bit of adjusting using a corner. Gets on. It's like, look, I'm like, I don't. You guys can follow along if you want. Anyway, I'm going.
I think Vivian exchanges looks with Dr. Katz. I don't have a better idea, do you?
At least 3.
Jamie's like literally like kind of like sidling towards.
Following the intern. We're following the intern. Great.
And with that, it is like you'd let a hound off the leash, and it just boom, through some doors, just kind of occasionally looking back over your shoulder. It feels equally like making sure you're there, and also, oh God, they're still following me. Energy.
I'd like to say that Vivian notices that one of like the buckles on Myron's HRA is like undone, and like as they're leaving, she just like reaches and like just clicks it into place, whether or not he notices or not.
Yeah, I think he looks like he's about to like say something sharp, and then like just thanks.
And
You're welcome.
excellent. And so all of you begin your kind of treacherous descent through the passages of the oldest house to try to meet the folks at the Panopticon. So we're going to cut back to Jane real quick. Jane, I think it has come time. The sector elevator doors open up into this incredibly kind of like very Spartan looking sector. Now, what it should be said, and let me kind of make sure that I've pulled up my map here. It should be said that, you know, all of the parts of the oldest house are fairly Spartan. They're fairly brutalist buildings as a whole. But what you come out to in the middle of the sector elevator, you are kind of taking a look at this. You find yourself in a very kind of tight, kind of like a very claustrophobic kind of tight passageway, because you realize that you are on the one of the middling floors of a vast array of ring-like kind of floors that basically are concentric rings that are comprised of cells in which are situated all of the altered items and potentially dangerous objects of power that are basically contained within the oldest house. I think Frederick Langston is kind of leading kind of with confidence, walking this kind of narrow walkway to his office. And the team is beginning to move. And he says, we'll take the central cargo elevator to level 7. We're going to place it there. Hey, quick, who's on fridge duty? Who's on fridge duty? Confirming fridge duty? Fridge is okay? Okay, excellent. And I think there's somebody that just kind of sheepishly raises their hand as he passes by an open facing security office that overlooks the Panopticon as a whole.
Okay.
Yeah, taking a look at this, there are at least on each floor about 18 to 20 cells, each containing their own object of power. This place hums with paranatural phenomena. What are you doing as you're kind of like taking all of this in?
Jane came here for a reason, and so she's not letting that dollhouse out of her sight unless she has to. But so she's just gonna follow. But I think she has noticed that she's the only one not wearing an HRA. So she's gonna keep her eyes peeled for one.
Absolutely. And as you're kind of like, I think at this point you're kind of riding with the team on the cargo elevator. I will tell you this, without Frederick basically taking up all the oxygen in the room, you are going to probably have a tougher time kind of like slipping past these people's radar. Are you going to try to infiltrate? Do you have any points in that?
I don't have infiltrate, but where is infiltrate?
That is your general abilities.
Oh, it's a general abilities. No, I don't have that. But what Jane is gonna do is use the fact that she's an intern. Like, she's just assigned here for the day.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, is there a kind of like an investigative ability that you can kind of assigned to this, or even like a general ability?
Well, like she's got bureaucracy.
Perfect.
She's doing the like, I'm a corporate interning.
Yeah, I think that as I will tell you this, if you give me a point spend, I can give you some relevant information as you are kind of riding up unnoticed by these rangers and miscellaneous security officers and researchers.
Absolutely. 1 point is yours.
Excellent. So as you spend the point, there is a lot of kind of like small chat and chit chat and talk that revolves around some of the strange circumstances surrounding goings on at the oldest house. Namely, it's been a while and nobody really has heard word from Dr. Darling as well as from Director Trench. And so basically everybody's kind of like, still working an unmanned ship, as it were. So that's one thing that you kind of gather. The other thing is that I will say that as the security officers talk, you realize that they are also kind of taken aback by this request. This seemed to have a high urgency attached to it by Dr. Darling's office.
Okay. Interesting that they had a high urgency request come in, but no one's seen Dr. Darling recently.
Exactly.
Curious.
Mm-hmm. And I think that as you kind of get off at the 7th floor of the Panopticon, you're walking around and you hear a telephone ring. It is not far from where you're currently kind of like watching them move into a containment cell, the Dollhouse. What do you do?
Is anyone else paying attention to this phone?
No, not as far as you can tell.
Well, she's trying to fit in as an intern. I feel like that means she has to answer the ringing phone.
Okay.
What is an intern gonna do?
Yeah, what the hell else are they paying you for? Answer phones.
I know. Well, while she's doing that, she's also texting. Do phones work in here?
I'm gonna say for the purposes of this one shot that they do.
Okay, she's just gonna text Jamie 7th floor so that he doesn't have to run around looking for where to go, and just says 7th floor, some abbreviation of Panopticon, and she's gonna answer the phone.
Excellent.
Yep.
As soon as you do, you hear something that you don't recognize as human speech, but that you understand the language attached to it implicitly through some kind of unknown means. And it sounds a little bit like this. And what you hear in your mind, as opposed to the actual sound, is the Dollhouse / Sanctuary is entombs / protects a family / nexus inside the house / bureau. The hiss will come for them / you and corrupt / end the pathway / game. You must stop / shut up them until the new director / protagonist / NPC arrives.
Will you be able to send us that message in writing?
Yeah, I will send that to you post haste.
Thank you, because that was sorry, what?
Yes, indeed, a mood.
Does Jane need to roll stability?
Yes, you will.
Okay.
As you realize, yeah, there's something about this that is just incredibly uncanny. Would you make me a standard test of 4? Spend points as needed, and if you fail, I will tell you what you lose in stability. Assume that your stability has been replenished since the last session, as it were.
I feel like as a player, I should use stability points, but as a player, I feel like this is gonna fuck Jade up to where I shouldn't use stability points, so I'm not gonna use stability points because she should like. If I roll poorly, she deserves stability over this.
Yeah.
Well, it's a 5.
Okay, you managed to just skirt past this this insane thing that just happened. I was contacted by, and you realize with some degree of certainty, you were contacted by the board of the oldest house.
Yep. Have I been contacted by them before?
That is a very good question. I will say that the only time anything similar to that has transpired for you was when you encountered the mini disc player.
Okay. Yep. Mild panic. Cool. Jamie's gonna get another text that says that is a key smash, followed by GTF here now, all caps. You're mooted.
This is 100% Jamie's getting this on like a watch. It's probably like a bootleg, a very bootleg Apple Watch he got on Canal Street. It's like it's pair tech or something.
It's one of those ones where like you can go to the electronics market in like Shenzhen and like buy all the individual pieces for an Apple Watch and assemble a bootleg one yourself.
It's a kit. You order it as a kit.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I feel like Vivian wants to know if your watch is an atomic clock. Like, oh, does it interact with atoms? Like, is it keeping time?
Are you getting texts? Can you get texts in here?
Wait, y'all can't?
Wait, you get texts on your watch?
Yeah. How old are y'all? Look, we don't have time. We gotta go. We gotta let's move. I'll explain text and like Facebook. No, you don't need that. You don't want that.
Please do not explain Facebook to her.
I feel like you hear Vivian puzzling as they walk away under her breath. But the electromagnetic radiation, how would that interact with the words of a text message? Curious.
Oh my god.
You're all so delightful. So I think after some time you guys have been navigating the oldest house, you're going through room shifts. I would like everybody to just make me a general athletics roll to make sure how you can kind of get through this. Does anybody not have athletics? Okay. So
Big surprise.
I'm gonna set difficulty on this. Yeah, go ahead. Spend however many you want. All right. So you rolled a 5. Excellent. Okay.
No, that's a 6. That's a 6.
Okay, that's a 6.
Okay, we can spend points after we see the roll, but before we know the difficulty.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Oh, I actually would say that you need to
1.
I would say you need to spend points first before you roll. So so I will let you do this. Go ahead. In retrospect, how much would you like to spend?
I can't think of any. Listen, I'm gonna waste all. I either waste all my points or nothing. So fuck it.
All right. What are you gonna do? It's your choice.
All right. I'm gonna blow all 3 of my points in athletics for a 4.
Okay. How did you do, Dr. Bancroft?
Dr. Bancroft has not rolled yet, but she will. That's a 6 on the die. Oh my god.
So the beautiful thing is you needed a 4. So you each of you are legging it. Dr. Katz, you have never moved. I don't think you have moved this much in your life. You just and not nearly as quickly.
No. Katz is like a skinny man who never exercises. He's one of those.
Skinny
He's a
fat.
twig boy.
I think, yeah, I was gonna say, I think that.
Skinny fat.
I think there was like probably a first date in Katz's life where he found out the person he dated was a avid rock climber, and I think you probably ended up like just hyperventilating a little bit just thinking about it. So yeah, I think that you are kind of like huffing and puffing by the time you get.
I look at rocks. I do not climb the rocks.
Exactly. I think.
Meanwhile, Vivian.
I take the rocks from the dangerous place where they are, where you can fall off of them and die, and I put them in the safe place, the lab, where you can look at them and not die.
Meanwhile, Vivian scrambles on top of rocks in the quarry in the astral plane all the time. So she's like, this is fine, you know.
This is all fine. How are you? So yeah, I think that you guys you managed to I think that Jamie is a little bit further ahead, but you guys are keeping pace admirably, and with some I think probably a couple of detours through some maintenance tunnels, a couple of quick turns around, you don't lose too much time. You do manage to find your way to containment. I will say that at this point, Jamie, where are you while you're waiting for everybody?
Waiting for everybody behind me, or waiting for the elevator to show up?
Pardon me, that I meant to say Jane.
It happened.
Look, we're twins. It happens.
It happens. I mean, Jane is, well, once she took like a couple of minutes to just focus on breathing and not fall into like memory holes, she's going to redouble her effort to find an HRA and I mean, she can't really do anything. Unfortunately, this is where her interning kind of comes to an end, in that she can't do anything about them putting it into containment. Like, she doesn't have that authority. That, like, I think that has to be, she thinks that has to be Vivian. So she's just going to stay around and like busy herself. Like, that was what the answering the phone was. And now like looking for an HRA kind of a thing. She's just going to hang out in that office and like try to see what else she might be able to glean by just standing around and being a not person. She's learned from Jamie over the years.
Okay. All right. I think that, well, there is one thing that immediately I think that you notice. I think that I will say, are you guys, with regard to the team that's going to meet Jane, are you guys basically trying to find your nearest passageway to the elevator, or are you kind of like just trying to scale down and enter the floor directly?
I feel like
We're following the intern.
Yeah, I feel like that's a question for our intern.
Yeah, Jamie. It sounded like you were trying to take them to the elevator.
I think we're gonna end up. We actually end up in a dead end stairwell that leads up to where the elevator will come out.
Mhm.
So like we end up doing something shady metaphysically that ends with us coming up from below in a way that I think is probably distressing to either of the doctors if they think too hard about it.
And we're coming out in the containment center, right?
Yes.
In the containment sector.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah, there's like a really old like surge or jolt soda vending machine. And like I think like there's a point where you just watch Jamie walk up to what appears to be a dead end and just kind of like ram it with his shoulder, and this vending machine just kind of goes and just wiggles out from behind it, and you're at the bottom of a stairwell.
How did you do that?
You use you lower your center of gravity so you don't tip it over too bad. You want to hit it low middle. Otherwise, a lot of people die. Like statistically, about like 44 people a year die when they try to tip a vending machine.
We're in the containment sector right now.
Yeah, that's where we wanted to go, right?
This is supposed to be the most secure area in the entire bureau, and you just ran here through a bunch of passages.
Yeah,
and they say that metaphysics isn't practical. There's the locomotion of metaphysics. Well done, Jamie. Well done. I need to ask you about that later. There's a paper in there I would love to have your opinion on.
That sounds like a great thing for later.
I just gotta. Just give me a minute.
As you guys manage to get out into this open area of containment near the Panopticon, I think all of you feel this pall of dread cross over you, and you notice that the quality of the light within the Panopticon changes, and it becomes more kind of this harsh red. And as you guys are kind of, I think that as this kind of pall casts over, there is some degree of urgency with which you probably should end up moving. What do you guys do?
I think instantly as Vivian sees the light diffuse and change, she looks over to Jamie. Your sister didn't have an HRA, did she?
Nah, I don't think so. She'll be good though. She's always good, and she can have mine if she, you know.
We better move. I don't like the look of this. There's something experimental in the air.
That's a weirdly specific turn of phrase. And Jamie pulls out a gun.
All right. Okay. You have a gun. Excellent. So
Who gave the intern a gun?
Well, they never checked, like asked for it back. I mean, we got requisition. Did you not know they gave us guns?
They gave you guns?
Yeah, we're field agents.
How did you learn to shoot a gun? They have to give you one to learn.
Yeah, I know how to shoot. I don't carry it around.
Maybe you should.
Jane, on the 7th floor, you notice that this kind of red light begins to suffuse the area around you. And immediately that same pall of dread, you feel it as well. And you can't help but notice something, which is that there are these people that you have been following, these HRA clad rangers and researchers. And there is a moment where you are looking at the containment cell in which they have put the dollhouse, and it also, the light in that containment cell begins once again to also turn red and begin to basically kind of saturate this otherwise like kind of bright fluorescent light. And you see almost like a seam in the air around it open and then swallow the dollhouse, leaving nothing behind. And normally this would be enough to throw everybody into high alert. And that is when you see, in opposition to the team members that have basically gone to the containment center, you see these figures on the other side of the floor beginning to approach at a rapid clip. The rangers and the researchers with the HRAs, they seem to be emitting a red light. And one of the rangers in your group says, halt, guys, no more steps forward. What seems to be the problem? Are we in the middle of an AWE? Is there something going on? And they don't seem to recognize or to care for the request or the order. And as they get closer, you begin hearing a very distinctive, terrible voice speaking a very strange, maddening phrase after phrase.
You are a worm through time. The thunder song distorts you. Happiness comes, white pearls, but yellow and red in the eye.
And they begin talking ad nauseum nonstop, and this other group of rangers fires on your group. And that is where we're going to take the end of our session.
Again.
Technically, it's just a very long break.
Yeah, a very long break. That's what I meant to say. Let me kill the music
Oh
here.
my god. Oh my god.
Well,
Oh my
fuck.
God.
This is fine.
This is fine.
Bad. Pap.
And guys, thanks. Labad, yes. The new fragrance by Calvin Klein. So guys, thanks so much for joining us for this second episode of Frights of Fandom. I have been happy to be your GM this fine evening. I want to give it up to our fantastic cast members tonight. And guys, let's go ahead and do some plugs and shout outs. So David, do you have any plugs or shout outs for this week?
Sure. So once again, I've been David. If you want to check out my game stuff, you can head on over to dbb-8.itch.io. There you can get some RPGs that I've designed, including stuff that we've played here on Flights of Fandom. As mentioned last week, I've just released In the Dark, which is a lightweight Forged in the Dark system that we've played for several flights on this channel, and now you can play it too. So head on over there to get it for whatever amount of money or free you feel is reasonable. And as I said at the top, you can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I am at DBrunelBrutman. That's going to be it for me.
I hear if you buy it for $20, David gives you a small prize. But that's just hearsay. That just could be me.
Listen, I can neither confirm nor deny the veracity of this information, and I will not be held to it.
Maybe it's just a spiritual wellness.
I can't. Who could possibly? Nobody can say if this is true or false. Least of all me.
Excellent. Marissa, any plugs or shout outs this week?
Yeah. So as some of you may know, long standbys on the channel, three of us here are on a show every other Sunday at 4:30 Eastern time, an Invisible Sun actual play that Zach also GMs called The Hole in the World. So if you haven't checked it out and you like surreal, spooky, and sometimes just contradictory to reality things, come check us out. It's a very dramatic and very fun time. Also would like to plug, those of you who know what I like to run on the channel know that that thing that I like to run is Good Society. And the folks at Story Brewers Role Playing have been working on a Kickstarter for Fight with Spirit, which is their new sports drama RPG. And I am pleased to say that it has met its funding goal now, so it will get made. Huzzah! And they are now working on stretch goals. So if you haven't checked them out and love good sports interpersonal drama, please do. They have also just announced that they are going to be releasing 2 free expansions with the game, one which is history based and one which is fantasy magic based. So if you've ever wanted to play a magical sport and see the drama therein, or a historical sport set back in, the 1800s, women playing cricket, that kind of amazingness, then please, by all means, go check it out.
Can we do the sci-fi joust in that? Because from the 1985 stand-up arcade game, because I think riding an ostrich with a lance would be awesome.
I'm pretty sure that would qualify.
What's the hardcore Mesoamerican?
I'm so bad at it.
What's the hardcore Mesoamerican game from way back in the day with the tiny little hoop and the solid rubber ball?
Oh, Highlight?
Yeah.
Is that Highlight?
No, the even older version where people died.
Oh shit!
Yeah, the one that they played in it's some sort of handball.
It's a handball based. I think it's Aztec, right?
Yeah, and if you lost, you got sacrificed.
So basically, a very old version of Squid Game, but
actually, yeah. Honestly, now that you put it that way,
the secret is it's always been Squid Game.
I was gonna say the owners association with that. Ooh, that's got to be terrible for negotiations. Anyhow,
the players union has regular turnovers.
Players union is just on the ropes in the negotiations here. Hopper, do you have any plugs or shout outs this week?
So funny that you should ask that. I am Hopper. Sorry about that. I have been playing Jamie, and I will continue to play Jamie, hopefully, unless I go insane or die or some other equally or worse option. We'll find out. But I'd like to throw a shout out to Encounter Party. They're a really fucking awesome D&D TTRPG podcast, edited actual play, a whole cast of fucking amazing professionals where they cut out all the annoying little in-between times, the dead spaces and the uhs and the ums and the rah and the bad jokes, and keep the good jokes. And the people are so great, and they're good. They're friends of Manapot. We love them dearly. I want to throw a link up to their website in the chat, and you should check them out. And also, I'd like to throw a quick shout out to another good friend of Manapot, especially that of this very show, Jeff Stormer, any award-winning game designer Jeff Stormer, who's awesome, and his game Anyone Can Wear the Mask has recently gotten a lot of attention, as it fucking should, because it's a great game. Check it out.
Excellent. And then finally, Puja, plugs, shout outs.
Hello, everybody. I have been Puja, and I will be on a bunch of places on the internet this week, so come hang out with me. Let's start from the top. In 2 days, on Thursday evening, I will be on the Wandering DM channel, where we're playing Sentinels of the Multiverse, a comic book superhero-based TTRPG, and it's super fun. We create an issue every week. We're running up to the end of our second trade paperback, essentially, and what's really fun is that chat can play trading cards and affect the action live. Then on Saturday, I am going to be in a brand new show. It's called Strange Hungers. It is going to be on the Total Party Kiss channel at 11 Central. Time zones are weird. And it is a D&D 5e horror game, and as is my thing. I'm not playing I am not playing a buff character. I'm playing a Clairlock. And
Shimbo.
I am not playing a Shimbo. I'm playing an adorable Clairlock, and she is cute as a button, and it's wild. And yeah, because I decided that what I'm going to do this time is going to throw basically an Elle Woodsy character into our horror campaign, because why the fuck not? So it is an all queer table, so I'm very excited for everything that happens and the ways in which we live up to the name of the channel. Because Total Party Kiss sounds like a threat. I promise.
I'm here for
depending on how you look at it.
¿Por qué no los dos?
Yes, exactly. And then, of course, on Sunday, I am on Practical Earth Asmophoria's channel for Romance of the Blue Rose, where we are rapidly approaching the end of season 2. And I mean, a bunch of incels called the game the gay RPG. So, you know, we have a lot to live up to there. But we're trying real hard, and we're succeeding. But links to all of those games can be found in my Twitter bio. So go look at that. And I will stop talking
now. And finally, for my own part, I am shouting out Manapod Happy Hour because I'm running it tomorrow night because I'm a crazy person who doesn't sleep enough, who took this week off and decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to run a lot of games with this week. So that is one thing that is happening. We are it is going to be a D&D 5e one-shot set at the Adventuring team building camp taking place at the scenic Quartz Pond just outside of Waterdeep. So come check it out. Shouldn't be anything untoward happening there whatsoever.
Okay.
And
fuck you. My brain just fully comprehended what you just said.
Yeah. Yes, I deserve punishment. We understand. The other thing I'm going to shout out is another friend of the channel, Angel Citadel. Josh and Joanne are fantastic folks that we love to hang out with, and I think both of them are going to be online tomorrow night with us playing in the one shot, so that's going to be fun. The other thing I will say is for any other shout outs, no, I think we're good. We've got some really great stuff on the channel for Tales from the Pack Worlds is our now podcast. Previously stream, which is super cool. That's run by Mark, the resident GM there. So check that out. They're still kind of trying to figure out what to do about like Paizo stuff and whether or not they want to continue there. But in the meantime, they do a fantastic job. You should really check out what they do. In addition to that, check out Crifu Burnell, who has his own channel where I think for a while he was doing Sword and Shackles, which is a cool solo run of Pathfinder 2e. Check that out. He works really hard and does a really fantastic job. He's definitely and I haven't ever seen anybody do solo Pathfinder 2e, so that's pretty cool. With that all being done and said, thanks everybody for joining us. Tune in next week to find out what happens now that the Hiss has invaded the Federal Bureau of Control. Until then, everybody be well, take care of yourselves, and come game with us. Good night.
Be gay, do crime.
Be gay, do crime. Big crimes. Big crimes.
And small crimes.